All right, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the first official episode of the Black Ronins of Japan, courtesy of YouTube. I am your host, Sigma Jones. The Shinobi Bro himself, Kenigakane Jones, is here as well. First and foremost, we just want to give a shout out to our subscribers. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning in. We truly appreciate the love and support. 日本の視聴者は YouTube のブラックローニンシリーズへようこそ。どうもありがとうございました。Hope you all are doing well this evening or this morning, depending on where you're listening in around the world. Slight correction, this is the first official podcast of the Black Ronins of Japan for 2023. So just want to make that correction. But yeah, we definitely got some hard hitters for you all tonight. Um, definitely some more stuff coming out of the pipe, but indeed, we got some subjects that we really want to hit up on. So before we do that, let me just reintroduce once again the Shinobi Bro himself, Kirigakure Jones. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
はい、ありがとうございます。皆様、ブラックローニンズのシリーズへようこそ。There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to chuckle about. There's a lot to ponder. It's been a very turbulent start to 2023, not for us, mind you, but for other people in other sectors in these YouTube streets. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, all right. Well, let's give some shout outs in the chat. So Seeking My Creator, good to see you, sir. He asks, what was that anime? The name of it? So if you talk about the ones with the guys transforming in their armor, that one is called Samurai Trooper in Japan, but over here in America it's called Ronin Warriors, excuse me. So that's that anime. And shout out to the good sir Free Zone Lou. Already know that intro.
Are you aware of the proper method that one should use to eliminate weeds? You see, weeds, when left unchecked, will rob the flower of its proper nutrients. So what do? If you uproot the weed, then you disturb the flower. Its roots and soil don't like to be interfered with.
So, what do you do?
You learn to plant flowers that utilize the weeds as a form of nourishment. Take a look. This flower is an example of a beautiful exterior masking its true intentions. Intentions that are really quite brutal.
Yep, shout out to Free Zone Lou. Good to see you, sir.
Salute to Free Zone in the building.
All right, Shinobi Bro. But yeah, we definitely got some stuff to talk about, at least in this first segment. Definitely for those who have been listening in on the YouTube streets and everything. There's been a lot going on, especially amongst the passport bros. And I figured, we could talk a little bit about them in this opening segment to kind of kick things off. For those who don't know, let me catch you up to speed of pretty much what happened. I believe this incident happened on last week. There is a prominent YouTuber who is a self-proclaimed passport bro by the name of Austin Holloman. And he was located in Brazil. I don't know for how long, but he was doing some video theirs and whatnot. And apparently he ran into trouble with a feminist down there who happens to have some connections. And it got to the point to where he had to pack up and go to Thailand. Now, it didn't say, if he was banned from Brazil or not, which I don't believe he is, because, being banned just to videotape people and whatnot, especially if you got their consent, that's highly unlikely that you would be banned for that. But it started some controversy and it started some people kind of questioning, is this going to be paying a bad light on the passport bros and even to some extent SYSBM, because we over here also advocate for brothers to travel see the world, venture to other cultures and all, and really immerse in it. Now, I will say this, and this is where there definitely needs to be some separation. SYSBM is not about, just traveling for women and everything. SYSBM is truly about men who already know that their mindset is different from the mainstream mindset. And for the most part, a lot of these brothers already have self control over themselves and self mastery. So they move things differently. They go about things very differently. Yeah, they travel to these other places and cultures, but they are there for the most part for the culture. They venture in with the local males there, and they really understand and comprehend the language and all. Even if learning the language is not on par, but they got a basic understanding to know how to get around. And furthermore, they're there to kind of make maneuvers to put themselves in better position in life. So it's not just for women and everything. Whereas passport bros, for the most part, my understanding is really they are there to find, you know, different aspects of women overseas. Now, for the most part, from my understanding, most of them are there to find girlfriends or wives, but you do got a few stragglers who are there for other means. And unfortunately, those stragglers is what paint passport bros into a bad light. Now, this with Austin Holloman, first off, I don't think he did anything illegal. So I want to put that out there that no, he didn't do anything illegal that forced him to leave and everything. But just the perception he was putting out there was being misconstrued. And really, that's kind of what got him into trouble in that aspect. But Shinobi Bro, your thoughts on this? I know we talked about this behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a lot to say. I think that SYSBM has more structure. There is a round table. There is a leader in one Mr. Shisho, Matt Bus Driver X. There are tenants. We have a book that talks about what SYSBM is and what it is not. And that is something that the Passport Bro movement has not yet produced. And I think a lot of people are traveling under the SYSBM banner. One of the key movers and shakers in the traveling fellas movement, if you will, is one Mr. Brazil Yesh. And he has put his stamp on his particular philosophy on travel. So, I mean, there's differences of opinion. I just feel like the whole Passport Bro situation is a lot less organized. Now, with that said, like you point out, and I've been saying for a long time, your best bet is get your passport, get on a plane, find a culture that resonates with you, and go, because you're going to have a much higher probability of finding a high quality Stargate. You're going to have a much better probability of success if it's business, if it's, spiritual growth, if it's recharging your batteries, if it's a change in perspective. You're going to have a lot more success by going in that direction. The issue, I think, is that men classified as Black are a finite resource. Numerically speaking, there are about 1 million to 2 million less men classified as Black than women classified as Black. There's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of, beefing and arguing over, the gender wars and things like that. At this stage of my life, I don't really care. I'm not really involved in those arguments. I'm not involved in that beef. I'm doing my own thing, rocking with SYSBM, rocking it with Black Ronins, raising a family, building an empire. So I don't really have time to engage and that kind of back and forth. But I mean, the numbers are what they are. And be it under the Passport Bros banner, be it under SYSBM, be it under Blue Book Gentlemen, Enlightened Western Men, whichever camp that you want to roll with, you have some of the most intelligent, some of the most educated, some of the most skilled, some of the highest earning men, and not just men classified as Black, but men in general, because this is for all different ethnicities. They've been traveling for a long time. But when you have your best men leaving and telling other men that, hey, I found success by doing this, and then to say nothing else of what's going on in Black Bill circles. For example, geomaxing is a thing. So, I mean, you've got these different groups and these different communities that are basically coming to the same conclusion that they're going to be in a better position. They're going to be more likely to put themselves in a position of maximum safety and advantage by picking up a passport and leaving. The communities that get left behind suffer. There's a lot of bravado. There's a lot of bragging. There's a lot of delusion. We don't need them. I don't need no man, babu, whatever. But at the end of the day, your best and brightest are leaving. It's a brain drain.
Yep.
No community, no ethnicity can survive that. So, of course, I think that the danger, quote unquote, of the practical effects of these men leaving is becoming more widely recognized. People are seeing that these guys are serious. They're not playing. They're out the door. So anyone that makes any sort of slip, anyone that can provide ammunition to try to blame and shame and scare and vilify men to keep them from leaving, that's what's going to happen. They're going to take advantage of that misstep.
Indeed, indeed. And shout out to Rael in the chat. Good to see you, sir. He also says, it's about progressing and making money and family. Forget them lames whining about these clown chicks. And that I agree. I think for the most part, and believe me, this goes for both sides. That's why SPM, Passport Bros, too. And let me just say this. Like Shinobi Bro says, we are in support of Passport Bros, especially when they're going about things legally, where, they're in other countries and they're dealing with legally consenting women of legal age. I have no problem with Passport Bros in that regard. I'm all for, hey, if Area A is not giving you what you want, but Area B is giving you what you want, the smart thing to do is go venture into Area B because you're getting your needs met there. But like you said, Shinobi Bro, the thing is, I think a lot of guys, especially in the online perspective, is unfortunate, but I do see where there's individuals who would live precariously online than actually living in real life. And that could be a slippery slope when, you don't have much going for you outside of social media, and you got to live up to a persona where, if you're talking about, yeah, no matter where I go, I get women, yada, yada, yada. Well, now when you go traveling and you put yourself out there, they're going to be expecting you to, as they say, show receipts. And if you can't pull that off, I mean, there goes your persona. Also, shout out to Laughing Dog. He said 80-20, undefeated since forever. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And shout out to JJ. Oh, yeah, we got to play the Wandering Samurai.
I'm not going there, Daddy. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
that smooth jam.
Smooth jam, indeed, indeed. But yeah, Shinobi, bro, I just think that, and this is why I love the fact that here on the Black Ronins podcast, yes, we talk about the importance of quality stargates and all, but we talk about that from the perspective of building a family, building an empire. But the main focus here on this channel, here on this podcast, is we really focus on man having self mastery, having self control. And in my honest opinion, one of the best ways or the best method for any individual, not just men, but even women as well, to teach themselves self mastery and self control is the way of the samurai and the way of the ninja. And we had Sensei Takai that came up here where he talks about how in Bushido there is no Bible. So it forces you to really do a lot of soul searching and do a lot of reflections, which helps along the way of self mastery and self control.
I learned over the course of this week that my master in the Bujinkan dojo passed away not too long ago. And me and some of the fellas were going to get together and have a celebration of life, we, his disciples. And without doxing myself, he was a very high level practitioner. He was a American freedman descendant, or he was a gentleman classified as Black. He was a Vietnam War veteran. He worked for law enforcement for many decades. This is a man that lived in the valley of the shadow of death, and he studied the way of the ninja. In fact, me, him, and Soke Hatsumi, we were all chilling at Soke's house, and we were sipping on some whiskey. And of course, Soke, as is commonly known, he likes his young, beautiful lady. So he handed us a picture of him with the Miss Japan winner for that particular year, And this was a man who was a passport brother long before our current day reincarnation, resurrection. I mean, there have been men classified as Black and men of all ethnicities who have been traveling for decades and decades. And this gets into the question of tactics and self-control. So when you are in someone else's country, you have to obey the law, not just the letter, but also the spirit. You have to know what time it is. You have to be able to read the air. Now, listen, we all know, okay, traditional societies, they have standards. My wife always talks about, Young Kinats always talks about basic behavior. These are the basic things that Japanese people just know and understand. Does everyone live up to those standards? No. Do they want their failings broadcasted on the internet for everyone in the whole world to see? No, they do not. So, you have to kind of know the lay of the land. And people will continue, even in spite of all this hubbub, people are still going to travel. Men classified as Black and men of other ethnicities will still travel. That's not going to stop. They're still going to look for wives. They're still going to look for whatever it is they're looking for. That's not going to stop. The thing is, though, and I want to pound the table once again, we talked about the Black Ronins intelligence streams, Warrior in the Garden. You and I and the men listening are valuable. We are valuable individuals. Most of us make decent money. Most of us have decent assets. Most of us have connections. Most of us have skills, education, all these sort of things. In a world where interest rates are rising, in a world where liquidity is getting tighter and layoffs are really starting to bite,
Mhm.
you need the best people. And we've talked about this many a time. We pounded the table many a time. We talked about how countries are going to be competing for people. So, yeah, no country, right? No country is going to tolerate a group of foreign men coming to their country, being reckless, and scooping up their women. I mean, wars have been fought over less. Let's go back to Troy, right?
Yep.
Well, what would they say about Helen? They said that her face launched 1,000 ships. So, I mean, I know it's the internet and I know that it's all about, social media, but we can't forget that human nature has not changed. When you go to someone else's country, know the language, know somebody on the ground, know the culture that you're dealing with, and don't put their dirty laundry out on the internet for everyone to see. Someone is not going to like that, and they're going to want to get at you for that.
Exactly. Shout out to Angry Snowman. Good to see you, good sir. And JJ, yeah, this is. I want to say your video actually kind of gave some more inspiration to talk about this as far as with the passport bros and what's going on and all. But just like that last section that Shinobi Bro just said, I heard a question on another panel recently where they asked, can a man have a low profile traveling overseas without getting caught up by feminists? And my answer is yes, that is possible because before I before I even started this channel, let alone started this podcast with Kitty Guy Kade Jones, my first ever travel overseas was to Japan. And the mere fact that number one, I had a basic understanding of the language, and number two, I had a I have acquaintances, mostly males, on the ground there, Japanese men, who helped me understand the lay of the land and the ways of the culture. Just those two aspects in and of itself pretty much was able to help me keep a very low profile and not get caught up with the wrong crowd. And even now, when I go back and travel again, yeah, I have a YouTube channel and everything, but it's how I go about things. It's how you go and make sure that the you're not attracting the wrong type of people. That's actually going to make your travels even better because now you're not bringing a lot of that attention to yourself. You're just simply showcasing what's going on in the culture. And I guess you could say a little bit of benefit and all. One of the beauties about Japan is number one, the population of non Japanese there is roughly about 2%. And of that 2%, even another 2% of less black people live in Japan. So your chances of being caught up, at least, if you're a man classified as black, being caught up with a black feminist is tremendously lower going into a place like Japan compared to going to a place like Brazil, where I think last time I checked on the census in Brazil, roughly about 70 to 80% of the population is considered um, classified as black or some sort of black classification. So again, you got to know what environment you're going into and how you would be able to adaptability. Like Laughing Dog, one of my favorite quotes, and he quoted on the last stream by the legendary Bruce Lee: "Be like water." Essentially, what Bruce Lee is saying is be able to adapt to your environment. There's going to be some aspects where you know things you could do in America, you can't really do the same thing in these other countries. For that matter, they've been around longer than America. And they are a lot more traditional compared to America. So you got to know your environment, you got to know what you're dealing with, and be able to adapt to those particular environments. Now, that's on the aspect of, if you're a man that's traveling to these countries and you're being involved in these countries, in the cultures and all. But now let's talk about what to do if you're a man classified as black and you go down the path of SYSBM and you develop a family from that traditional aspect. Now, it was brought to my attention, shout out to Shinobi Bro once again, on yesterday, news hit the airwave. First off, shout out to Ragnarok, good to see you as well, sir. News hit the airwave that Naomi Osaka, the superstar tennis player, is expecting. So you're thinking, oh, this is great. Naomi Osaka, she about to get ready to have her first child and whatnot. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But the devil is in the details. Number one, she's not married. And number two, the baby daddy is an individual from a very questionable background. And so once you see those details, now it's like, oh, yeah, this takes on a whole different life. Shinobi Bro, I'll let you kind of expound on it more since you broke the story to me.
Well, as you mentioned, Miss Osaka-san is going to be a baby mama. And of course, it's a rapper that she's involved with. And I mean, he's a young guy, he's out here doing this thing. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like that this is a young woman that has multi-million-dollar contracts. She's one of the most well-known people on the planet. She could have married anyone, like a doctor, a businessman, a politician, someone like that. Like Angry Snowman is saying MRS, I mean, you could have been an MRS first, right? But no, she decided to, live that lifestyle. She got super woke back during the BLM foolishness and all that. So, I mean, this whole thing was inevitable, but I just find it to be very sad. And, I was talking to young Hinata about this and I was asking her, hey, did you hear about this? And what she basically said was, yeah, there was a story on Yahoo Japan, but I didn't read it though. And like, I didn't see any videos about it. I didn't really see any other stories about it. So from the Japanese perspective, I mean, she's basically persona non grata. She's done. She's done in Japan. I mean, her star power has essentially gone to zero. That's not to say that, maybe she rises from the dead or something like that, but not very likely. And, and for me personally, because, my daughter is of Afro-Euro, Indigenous American, and Japanese heritage. And, Miss Osaka was a very good role model. I could point, my daughter, we'd watch her games together and stuff. And I would point and I would say, hey, she's a lot like you. Representation. But now I can't do that. I can't do that because, every day, every other day, I'm drilling into my daughter's head. I said, look, first, you get your prayer life right. Second, you get your studies right. Third, you go to college and get your MRS degree. Third or fifth, whatever, you get married. And then after that, and only after that, you have them babies. And I tell that to her, every other day. I want her to have that firmly in her mind. And on top of that, young Hinata keeps her very close and is very strict in terms of making sure that, my daughter has the proper home training, proper manners,
Mm.
helping to cook, helping to clean, all these kinds of things. Because I do not want my daughter to end up like Miss Osaka-san, which is a shame, but hey, this is where we are. It is what it is.
Yep, I think it's safe to say, Shinobi Bro, that as far as her relations to Japan, Osaka, excuse me, Osaka, Miss Osaka pretty much committed, you could say, public seppuku, something along the lines of this.
Yeah, pretty much that. And
Yeah,
like in Japan, in Korea, in Taiwan, and in China, the out of wedlock birth rate is very minimal.
yeah,
Like
very
the
low.
typical girl on the street in these countries, they are not going to end up as single mothers. They're just not going to do it. So, I mean, really, there's no excuse because, she came out of a Japanese Stargate.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where it's kind of like, yeah, there's some pitfalls, even with SYSBM, do it if you don't do it the right way. Now, we talked about this. It's like, okay, her dad, who is considered Haitian, not American, but just Haitian. It's like, okay, what did he do? Or what he could have done to avoid this particular situation? Well, for starters, number one, he made sure to keep his wife, his Stargate, away from, you know, the dysfunction. And he did that by, remaining in Japan. And even if you was to bring your Stargate over here to America, it's actually pretty easy to keep her away from dysfunction. We hear some horror stories of guys who, especially men classified as black, who essentially brought their wives back over here to America or Western culture, and they got her around the dysfunction. And I'll let you guys read between the lines of what that means. And she got corrupted. And they're just like, man, don't bring over here and everything because she'll get caught up. That's not entirely true. You can actually avoid that by just not being around dysfunction, which could include staying away from your own family or your own kind. I know that's tough to hear and everything, but sometimes if you want to build an empire, you got to cut off the parasites and the infections before you can do so. So he did that, but I think one of the mistakes that he did was he tried to still bring his daughter up around other black people, or should I say dysfunctional. You get you get the idea, and that, to me, that's what caused problems. Now, Shinobi Bro, he just told you, he's raising a daughter and all, raising her in, you know, two-parent household, him and his wife and all. And they are bringing her up in a traditional Japanese lifestyle, which when I get married, I'll be doing the same thing if I had a daughter. But one of the key ingredients is you got to make sure you stay very active in your children's lives as they grow up. And you also got to inspire them to see that, hey, you don't have to be dysfunctional to be considered part of the in group. You can be a capable individual and be around like minded individuals. Once you're able to do that, that's where you begin to make that separation. Now, some people say, "Oh, that's classism. You separating based off of class." Well, I'm gonna put it like this: me, Shinobi Bro, SKC if he's in the chat, and plenty of other brothers. By default, SYSBM is about classism.
Yep.
You have to have that separation if you don't want to be considered part of the dysfunction. But go right ahead, Shinobi Bro.
I mean, so my family, for example, my mother's family, they came from a long line of what's called multi-generational mixed people. Kind of the progenitor of my mother's line was a very, very fair complected former slave. He escaped from slavery. He went to the North, and then about 15 years of age, he went back down south, joined the Union Army, United States Colored Troops, and he fought for freedom. He went back up north. He married my many times great grandmother. They had property, they had land, they had businesses. So, I mean, throughout those generations, they were kind of in their own class. I mean, and it's kind of outside the scope of this live stream. And even my father's people were very much the same way. So, and this basically opens up a huge can of worms, going all the way back to, like antebellum times and things like that. But the point is, as Juvenile famously said in his classic album, 400 Degrees, niggas ain't no family. So, I mean, you always have these different groups and strata and social economic status and things of that nature. I can tell you here in Pleasantville that my children and my daughter, since we're talking about daughters, goes to a school that is the children are majority European descent. We have quite a few Japanese, Korean, and Chinese students. We have South Indian students. We have Hispanic students. We have multi-ethnic students. And then we also have African students. And then we have some what I call American freedmen descendants or children classified as Black American. It's a really good school. They get really good grades. People get along together. There's no issues. And the vast majority of the parents in this school system are the married two-parent variety. So, I mean, location matters a great deal. Putting yourself in a position of maximum safety and advantage, this is important. But yes, you have to be involved. You can't just let your kids do whatever, right? But even in terms of, we were talking about, if you do bring home that high quality Stargate to America, making sure she doesn't get corrupted. Well, that means that you have to stay engaged with your loving wife. You have to talk with her and explain and show and why this is not a good thing. And from my experience, young Hinata has always been open, always been willing to listen. And, she's a very traditionally minded type of lady, and she abhors Western style, kind of left wing, feminist type value. She's not a fan of that. It goes against her quote unquote basic behaviors. So, I mean, it can be done and it's not impossible. But here's the thing. if you are a man, regardless of background, and if you do travel to a traditionally minded culture, it could be Eastern Europe. I'm Eastern Orthodox Christian, so in our churches we have women from Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, Bulgaria, all those different countries, Romania. So I know quite a few of those ladies personally. They are my co-parishioners, right? And they still come with those traditional family values. You could go to Japan, you could go to Africa, wherever you want to go. If you find a traditionally minded lady and you bring her back here, then you have to be worthy of her. A
Mhm.
traditionally minded woman is traditional for a reason.
Yep.
It's not an accident, and you have to be ready to do what you need to do to set yourself up to maintain those values. Being around like minded people, being in a like minded area, associating with like minded individuals. That's how that works.
Indeed. And before we move to the next segment, I just want to add some more to what Shinobi Bro is saying. Traditionally minded women, if you're truly seeking that variety, especially when it comes down to wife and kids, you must have a backbone. She's going to be expecting you to be the leader of her and of your shared home. So that means you're going to need to be very proactive, and you got to be able to uh, uh you got to be able to know your environment. Again, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Not only do you need to be able to be adaptive in these environments, but you also got to know what you need to do to make sure that environment not only affects you, but affects the people around you. And let me just say this, marriage and family life is not easy. There's guys that, talk about they want that lifestyle and all, but when it's handed to them, they're not ready because mentally they do not know how to navigate and how to deal with, you know, an environment where there's not a lot of traditional examples, especially here in America. So this is why we teach the importance of, hey, you got to have self mastery of yourself. You got to be able to develop yourself. I'm not going to say self improvement because that's been overused. This is truly about self mastery. And shout out to Dr. Phoenix. He says, keeping your traditional culture for a wife around uncultured heathen is a recipe for disaster. Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. You you essentially got to know what you're going to do. You got to know how you're going to navigate this environment. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's already some family members, at least on my side of the family. I haven't been in contact with them for years, and I have no intentions to get in contact with them. Reason being, their lifestyle is something that I am not cool with. I am not going out of my way to, so to speak, share similarities of their lifestyle. So, in essence, you're better off going ahead and cut them off. And especially if you're one where you're about to get ready to start your own family, it is of importance and of essence that people who are bad for you, who are negative towards your traditional mindset, that you cut them off and never let them be involved. But that's our few takes on that. All right, so let's have some fun here. So it is 2023. We're still in the first month of the year, and we already got some top three videos from our Instagram page of Black Ronins of Japan. So how did this work? Well, first you got to follow us on Instagram, so Black Ronins of Japan. The information is posted by our chat bot in the chat, and each month we go through and we find Japanese type of content or uh, um just martial arts type of content and everything, and we post the videos on our channel, and we allow the audience to go through and give their votes. And towards the end of the month, each of the top three videos that got the most votes for the month gets featured onto this platform when we do our regular Black Ronins of Japan podcast. So, without further ado, Shinobi Bro, we ready for it?
I am prepared. Let's do it.
All right, let's get the soundtrack going. All right, coming in at number 3 is from the user Wakiri underscore Batosai. And his video came in at number 3. So we're about to share the video right now.
Ooh.
You know, I heard there is a dojo in Kyoto that allow visitors to go and perform tame shikiri, the sword cutting technique. So I can't wait to get a hold of that when I go to Kyoto.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Hopefully, I wouldn't bring too much shame upon myself.
All right, so shout out to Warakiri underscore Patosai. Your video came in at number 3 for the month of January. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
All right, coming in at number 2 is the user by the name of Boko Samurai. And we have featured him before, but this particular video, very interesting, came in at number 2. So sharing it right now.
Ooh.
Ooh, man. Look at those cuts. It's efficient. All right, so shout out to Boko Samurai. Your video came in at number 2 for the month of January. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
All right, now coming in at number 1. This is a very interesting one because this is used by the name of Breathtaking.Japan, and they went to a special mochi shop in the city of Nara. And so you definitely got to check out this next one. And here we go. Check this out. So it's a famous shop in the city of Nara where these individuals, they show people up close how they make mochi, excuse me. And it's very interesting, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me hungry just looking at it. And my man's hands are so fast, it's almost like a hidden ultimate technique.
Yeah, and actually I've heard that their nickname at this restaurant. They're called the Mochi Samurais or the Mochi Ninjas.
Hmm. I mean, plus
Hopefully,
the hammerer, he's got pretty good technique too.
hmm so I'm hoping, if I visit Nara, because Nara is actually in between Kyoto and Osaka. If I get a chance to go to the shop, I'm hoping like to do an interview with one of them. Be like, hey, could you tell us here at the Black Ronins how you go about doing this technique?
Well, just be careful. You don't want to throw shade on the technique, otherwise we'll get canceled by the whole internet.
Indeed.
SYSPM Bro, strike again.
Indeed. Well, shout out to breathtaking.japan. Your video came in at number 1 for the month of January. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for participating. Be sure to follow us on Instagram to find more content of Japanese or martial arts culture. And if the video you voted for makes it in the top 3, it will be featured here on the Black Ronins podcast. So once again, thanks everybody again. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
All right. Man, before we continue, man, we got some special guests like the Dark Lord himself, Aizen Sama.
All creatures need to obey. No one can survive without trusting someone they feel is better, more worthy than themselves. To avoid that responsibility, those who are worthy look even higher, searching for more superior beings. And those superiors do the same, looking for even stronger individuals they can believe in. That is how all kings are created. It is also how gods are born.
So, yep. Shout out to the Dark Lord himself, Aizen Sama. He also says, how the food is prepared is always an interesting thing about other cultures for me. Couldn't agree more, good sir. Couldn't agree more.
Exactly. And every time I hear that, I have to ponder on that actually, and it's making more and more sense every day as time goes on.
So you telling me, Shinobi Roll, you two are coming under the dark side of the force?
I might. You never know.
Hey, believe me, me and Aizen Sama, we on the same page as well. So once you come over Shinobi Roll, you'll be amongst good friends.
We shall conquer the galaxy.
Indeed. All right. So it now comes to the next segment here. So Shinobi Bro, have you ever thought about when you're going to these other cultures and places that you would like to go to other avenues that allow you to travel into the past and see what life was like in these cultures of the past?
I think that's something that really appeals to me, um, especially when it comes to Japanese culture. But I don't know if other areas have a similar kind of experience.
Indeed. There's very few places where, you could travel back 400, 500 years ago and immerse yourself in these ancient cultures of the past. Now, some are wonderful, and then others are pretty controversial, if you know what I mean, Shinobi.
I wonder what you're referring to, Osamare-san. Seems like you have a specific example in mind.
Oh, yes, indeed. Now, okay, let me see how I can paint this picture. So, you got these pro blacks, and they talk about remembering your ancestors, remembering what they had to go through before they came here to America, and how because of their suffering, you have to honor them in proclaiming your pro-blackness because they're the only group of people that went through the so-called struggle. Even though there's evidence that plenty of other cultures had other forms of slavery back in the ancient times, but that's a subject for a whole different story. So, Shinobi bro, what if I told you that as a pro-black person, there's actually going to be a theme park where you get to relive the struggles of your ancestors.
Well, that sounds rather weird. So this isn't like a CB4 remake because I'm black, yo, and I'm black, yo. We're not talking about that, are we?
Oh no 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 no! This goes beyond that. This goes to the struggles of chains and whips and having to not have freedom and all that type of reliving of the past.
That that kind of sounds like some kinky S&M type stuff, and your boy don't get down like that. So I might have to decline.
Nah, I'm with you on that. Let me bring up this particular article. So yeah, there
What?
is a new slavery theme park that's going to be debuting in all places, Mother Africa.
Listen,
It's
what?
Isis Alba. I kid you not. I kid
First of all, what the fiddlesticks? Second of all, I know this is going to shock a lot of people, but my mother's mother and her mother and her mother, they were all of primarily European, specifically English and Scottish descent.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's
So,
like
no, England, I guess, is my mother. The Dark Lord is saying, am I ready to join? Well, hey, looking at stuff like this, yeah, I might need to come over.
yeah. Well, let's dive into it and see what this slavery theme park is all about. And I got a poll going into the chat. I'll let you guys kind of tell me what you're thinking and everything. So yeah, it says a new slavery theme park is set to debut pretty soon. So it says West Africa is creating a theme park of sorts based on slavery.
Like, okay, so number 8, then a lot of those people, like my paternal side, is most likely from the Fang people in modern day Gabon. And
Mm.
from what I know of the history of that area, he was probably captured in battle. They put him on a boat, and people that looked like him sold him off to Europeans, and they brought him over here to America. So I don't know if I want to laugh or really get upset. I'm trying to decide which one I want to do.
Well, Shinobi, bro, let's look more into the details of this. So it says they're creating the Marina Project in Oida, a coastal town in the Republic of Benin in West Africa. This is a vast memorial and tourist complex that is currently under construction. It says the country hopes to market itself as a major destination for Afro descendant tourists. Neighboring
Really?
Nigeria and its population of 200 and okay, let's just talk about that. The country hopes to market itself as a major destination for Afro-descended tourists. Right.
I mean, now listen, maybe in fairness, I want to be fair. I want to be fair and balanced. Some of these pro-blacks would probably go to this and really enjoy it.
Oh, that requires a burn. Wait. Flash alert. SKC is in the building. The cool. He said, I need to make a commercial for this. Maybe I could play Toto's Africa in the background. Well, SKC, since you're here, let me play your intro real quick. And then SKC, since you're here, if anybody been following the channel, they should know that I released a short sometime this week that was an inspiration from SKC. Now that he's here, I'm actually going to play this short right now. Okay, I'm gonna deviate a little bit because I want to talk about that particular short. So what inspired that particular short for SKC? I was watching this anime, Shinobi Bro, and this anime is titled Naga Sarere Iranto. And what it's about is a young man is shipwrecked on an island that is inhabited by women. And it's a pretty interesting series because it's actually based on a true Japanese legend where supposedly there is an island somewhere off in the Pacific, but not too far from East Asia, where it's inhabited by nothing but women. And so I think the legend is talking about Japan itself, but you got to get the idea. And so on this particular episode, there's a shrine maiden by the name of Machi, and she accidentally released the spirit of a raccoon. And that dialogue you saw was her talking about how that darn raccoon is making a fool of me. Forget my honor as a shrine maiden. I'm going to rip his skin off and make myself some coon soup. I said, yes, I am definitely going to spin this off.
Now, you know that SKC has, I mean, permeated your mind when, you immediately make that connection.
Right. I'm just over here watching a random anime, and lo and behold, this episode and that dialogue, it was like, oh my goodness, this is an SKC work in the baking. But okay, all right, I need to get that laugh out of my system. So let us continue. Okay, so we just talked about how this theme park is supposed to be a major destination of Afro-descended tourists. It goes on to say, neighboring Nigeria and its population of 220 million potential visitors also makes serene and diminutive Benin an invaluable location for large-scale tourist attractions. This development is taking place on the waterfront. Once, and I quote, the main slave port for the blight of Benin. Ooh.
I mean, so the word for the day is ethnogenesis. And that means that the creation of a new people or a new ethnic group. That's usually what that's used to refer to. And for me and you, our ethnogenesis is right here in the good old US of A.
Sir.
So, yes, I have African descendant ancestors. I'm proud of that fact. However, I'm American. This is the biggest, it's either the biggest troll in the world or the biggest slap in the face with the 12-inch tallywhacker that I've ever seen in my entire adult life. And then on top of that, now listen, okay, I am not down with the whole like xenophobic attitude of, say, certain people in certain quarters, like say, ADOS FBA. I'm not into that at all. I'm saying my whole attitude since the beginning, my attitude since the beginning has been, if you're a person, if you respect me, I respect you. We can get along, no problem. However, with that said, there's going to be a lot of ignorant people coming to this port from neighboring Nigeria and other places, and they're going to mock and laugh and joke and take pictures. Yeah, I'm not with that.
Oh, SKC. If this operation is somehow funded by China's Bell and Roll. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, this is so messed up on so many levels.
But it gets good. Check this out. Check this out. It says from this region, almost 2 million enslaved Africans departed during the transatlantic slave trade. At its height, from the 1790s to the 1860s, Oida was controlled by, the Kingdom of Dahomey.
Oh,
Wasn't there a video or a movie that just came out about the Dahomeys?
I
Oh,
believe
that's
there is.
right. The Woman King.
Again and again. Listen, love my African brothers and sisters. I am not one of these ADOS FBA types, but as a descendant of American freedmen, this is not a good look. We've been talking about, how this stuff looks. We've been talking about image, right? This whole podcast today. This is not a good look. This is not good. This is not good.
No, not at all. It says the future complex will include a hotel spa, a oh my goodness, a life-size replica of a slave ship.
Oh. I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to like pat people down there? Like, you want the full experience? Well, first you have to take off your clothes. And second, we're going to put these.
I can't shit on me, bro. I can't.
I mean, seriously.
A life-size replica of a slave ship.
But you know what, though? You, me, and SKC and everyone in this chat, we're gonna get canceled for this. They're gonna say, Kitty Jones, you're a coon, you're a sellout. You're turning your back on your blackness because you don't support this.
Man, I'm sorry. Ain't no way I'm claiming black after this. I'm sorry. I just can't. SKC, how could you be in a spa with a slave ship?
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, this is an insult. This is a
It
smack
really
in the
is.
face with a 13-inch tallywhacker right across the face. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you for real right
Man.
now?
Oh, check this out. Okay, so it has a hotel spa, a life-size replica of a slave ship, memorial gardens, a craft market, and an arena for something called voodoo
Probably
voodoo
voodoo.
performances. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Voodoo, come on now. And they try to say
come on
here,
now.
Vodun is a religion practiced in Benin and among the descendants of enslaved Africans in the U.S., Haiti, and beyond. Okay, so you want to do a performance on voodoo?
I mean, bruh. I mean, come on now. I mean, listen. I am not woke. I mean, to a certain extent, I guess I am, because like, I mean, come on. What self-respecting people? What self-respecting people does stuff like this? I can't understand it.
Before we view the video, let me read the rest of this so we can view the video because the video is like 4 minutes, so we can watch that. But it said slave heritage tourism in Africa caters mainly to the interests of foreign visitors, especially descendants of enslaved Africans in North and South America and the Caribbean region. Several UNESCO World Heritage Centers curate these legacies for tourists. Guri Island in Senegal, slave castles in Ghana, and Stone Town in Tanzania. To be sure, tourism development was always part of the slave route project, even before UNESCO.
I mean, okay. So you know what? Since we're on the subject, I'm just gonna go off the rails here for a second.
Go ahead, Shinobi, bro.
So there are individuals who argue that the slave trade happened in a very different way than we're traditionally been told, right? So the argument is there were individuals of classical, what we would call West African features, darker skin tones, so forth and so on, that were already here living in America when the European colonists arrived. That's the argument. I think on some level, I think it's somewhat plausible. Other areas I have disagreement with. But what I'm saying is, for someone who really believes this theory, right? You're going to go to them and you're going to say, hey, you're a coon, you're a sellout, you're not supporting your motherland. By the way, this story that you don't believe in, they're going to develop a series of rides and attractions. And this was part of the plan for many decades. I mean, people who already reject the standard, slave trade, transatlantic theory to begin with, they're going to point to this and they're going to have a field day with this. They're going to say, look at this bull stuffing. Look at this balderdash. You can't make this. Where is the Godfather when we need him? Where's the soundbite?
Man. I'm going to have to make a soundbite from good old David Carroll. But
you can't. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, this article's almost done, so we can go watch the video. But it says in Oida, Tourism infrastructures are concentrated. Forgiveness through ritual atonement and commemoration is sought publicly. So the Marina project will work out well here. Okay. The presence of another area like this in particular has been important for tourists who are eager to imagine and enact their roots.
Listen, I look, I can't. I can't. All right. I'm just a average Joe American guy. You know what I'm saying? I can't be associated with Pan Africanists. I can't be down with Dr. Umar. None of this applies to me. Okay. A group of people who are eagerly wanting to reimagine themselves being thrown into a boat and enslaved. That sounds like a really good time for someone who's into S&M. And I'm not down with that kind of stuff. So no, kindly leave me out of it.
Well, Shinobi Bro, since this video is only like 5 minutes long, let's get a tour. Let's get a digital tour of this soon-to-be theme park.
Are
And
you
what's
kidding
there?
me?
Oh
What?
yes, oh yes, good sir. Let's check it out real quick. So this is the route of slavery. Hold on, I forgot to do something real quick. I got to put up the fair use sign because people. Let's continue. Welcome to slavery theme park.
Are you kidding?
The actual port where they sell slaves. The memorial. It's a souvenir shop. A waterfront restaurant.
Is this before or after the slavery? Before you get to eat it.
The village artisanal. I guess this is where they keep the slave before they knock them off. Hotel Benin.
You know, I just thought of something too. I bet you have a whole lot of like wokeists that would come just for this experience.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
A lot of them. They
I
would be
gotta
like,
relive what my ancestors.
Well, I'm talking about wokus of European descent, like kind of your left wing
Oh,
liberal types. Yeah, they would
yeah.
they would love this.
Let's continue, good sir. Hotel Caribbean, I guess Hotel Caribbean. Department 2, something like that. Oh, there it is. Here it is. The life-size replica of the slave ship.
You have to be kidding. I mean, yeah.
All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Another souvenir shop. Zumachi or Zomachi, wherever that is. Okay, so Shinobi Bro. This is the arena that they were talking about, the Arena Badu. Now, let me ask you something. You notice the tree right in the middle of this arena?
Oh,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there such a thing as the whipping post?
yeah. And then on top of that, back in the day, it wasn't that long ago, they would lynch people. You'd have people sit around and eat and take pictures and listen,
Ooh,
this has to
boy.
be either a massive troll or you're just getting slapped in the face with Tallywhacker. This is the only thing I can think of.
I just saw what he said. I wonder if they'll have Africans greet him by saying, Wakanda forever. Ooh, ooh.
Oh.
Okay, let's try to finish this up. We almost done. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh
the
my goodness.
soon-to-be theme park of slavery in Benin. Ooh.
Look, man.
Ah.
Look, if they had an acronym for this park, it would be 2 letters. It would be F as in Foxtrot, U like unicorn.
Yep. I'm gonna just be honest. Nothing about this park inspires me to be like, you know what? I want to take a trip to Africa now. Nothing of what we just watched and heard has inspired me to be like, yeah, I want to go to Africa so I can relive my ancestors' struggles when
That's
they was
right.
in chains and they were singing, black hymns of freedom and whatnot. I'm sorry, nothing like that is even close.
I mean, but the sad part is that you will have pro blacks and you will have like the hardcore lefty uh quote unquote white wokeists. They will both be there and they will both hold hands and relive being whipped and all of that. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be there. They're gonna spend mad money in that park. They're gonna bring home souvenirs.
Man, Isaac just said here, where's this comment? Isaac's like, do guests get to leave with a complimentary news? Look, Isaac's talking about, we know you the Dark Lord, but man.
Man. So I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm just gonna say it like this. I am an American descendant of freedmen. My ethnogenesis is in the United States. That whole Africa thing, my name is Paul, and that's between y'all. Whoever wants to claim that could claim that, but not me. I'm done with it. It's
Yeah.
over.
Honestly, from now on, these are. Wait a minute. Let me get rid of this thingamajig. Fair use. From now on, these are my ancestors.
Ah, shit.
That's who I'm claiming from now on. I'm sorry. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. What I
much.
just witnessed.
I mean,
Yeah.
again,
Mhm.
I don't have any problems. Love my people, all of them from all over the globe and all that. But yeah, I can't be associated with that. It's over. It's over.
Yeah. So okay. So now let's look at something a little bit more. I would say more sensible. Something where actually a lot of people would be inspired to want to go and visit this already existing cultural theme park. And it's a theme park that's located in Northeast Tokyo. And you actually get to travel back in time during the feudal era, or some would say the Edo period. And that is a place called Edo Wonderland Nikko Edomura. So this is actually an article from the japanguide.com. And we actually got a little video we'll watch too right after this. So it says Edo Wonderland Nikko Edomura is a history theme park recreating Japanese town life during the Edo period, which was 1603 to 1868. The park is really a small town built in Edo style architecture and populated by townspeople in period costumes, and has been used as the setting for period TV dramas. Park guests have the opportunity to dress up as well. Costumes can be rented for a fee, and tour the town's historically based shops and museums, participate in games, and see live shows and theater. There are various shops and restaurants around Edo Wonderland, most of which sell souvenirs such as teapots, woodblock prints, and toy weapons. Other shops, however, such as the blacksmith and armor repair shops, are replica storefronts that show how period craftsmen worked. In addition, there are two wax museums, the Kodemacho Jailhouse and the Kira Kozukinsosuke residence, which shows grisly scenes of prison life, torture, battle, and vengeance. Other attractions around town, dubbed experience zones, are amusements such as a haunted temple filled with Japanese spirits and demons, and a house of illusions where walls seem to bend and balls roll uphill. One of the best attractions is the Ninja Trick Maze, which is a human sized labyrinth that is definitely a challenge to escape from. Finally, visitors to Edo Wonderland should not miss one of the park's live shows held at various theaters around town. Performances vary from comic shows and traditional water magic to live action, including the popular Grand Ninja Theater, where sword battles, magic, and martial arts are part of the show. The shows are held daily, with multiple performances each day. And so, how do you get there? Again, Tebu operates buses every 20 to 30 minutes between Hirugawa Onsen Station and Nikko Edomura. The trip takes 20 minutes, costs only 420 yen one way, and is covered by the Nikko All Area Pass. And so again, um, this is located in northeast Tokyo, and so they show you some of the routes. SKC asks, "What happens if there was a slave escape?" He's still harping on that African beef.
Well, you know what? Hey, if you're gonna do all that, going back to the bite of Benin, they might as well. I mean, why not go all out?
Right, might as well.
They might as well.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's show y'all what this Edo Wonderland looks like. It's a somewhat long promotional video, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but it kind of gives you an idea of what Edo Wonderland looks like. And this has inspired me to be like, yeah, I want to visit this place, not no African slavery, with me on a slave ship type of inspiration. But whew, all right. Let me get the fair use thing going. All right, here we go.
A world transcending 400 years of time and space. The realization of a shared dream. Step inside and travel back through time to the world of the Edo period. Elusive and full of mystery. Glorious and spectacular. Filled with honor and compassion. A time of magic and illusion. At the Edo Wonderland Cultural Theme Park, you too can experience the life of an Edo citizen. Edo Wonderland, the essence of Japan. One of the main draws of a visit to Edo Wonderland is the experience of being transformed into an actual Edo citizen. A quick walk along a tree-lined road brings you to Costume Rental, where you can find Edo-style kimono and costumes. Here, you can discover your inner Edo self. Will you be a samurai, oiran, town maiden, or maybe a ninja? Choose your role, get into the Edo spirit, and begin your incredible adventure. The most popular attraction for children is the Edo Job Experience.
Oh, yeah.
Choose to become a hero of the night, a ninja, and learn ninja techniques from real ninja masters. Hone your throwing skills with a shuriken and be ready for battle against your enemies at any time. Here, you can experience the thrill of chasing after a criminal. Become an okapiki who serve as police officers of the great city of Edo. Obtain a wanted poster and use your skills to track
Gonna
down the
fast forward a
criminal
bit.
on the thrill of living in real Edo period city. That experience is here, waiting for you. The ninja who stayed behind the scenes throughout most of history are now well known around the world. At the Grand Ninja Theater, you can experience a thrilling display of ninja skills in action set to lights and music. Prepare to be amazed. And keep your eyes open. Who could this be? It must be Echigoya Bunzaemon, infamous for his corrupt business dealings. Anyway, since you went to the trouble of traveling back in time, be sure to enjoy all of the amusements available in Edo. At the Yama Amusement Experience, try your hand at Japanese archery, a martial art representative of Edo. Even the restaurants showcase the spirit of Edo. Without a doubt, the quintessential Edo cuisine is soba noodles. Have them along with a special tsuyu dipping sauce made in the traditional Edo style. And experience the true feeling of being an Edo citizen. On the main street, catch a glimpse of the most famed oiran of Edo's geisha quarters in the spectacular Oiran Dochu Parade.
本日はご来場いただき誠にありがとうあいどうぞごゆるりとお楽しみください
You will be dazzled by the splendors of Edo. And why not see what it's like to be a wealthy man and enjoy the Oiran show at the traditional Japanese culture? The gorgeously decorated Golden Tea Ceremony Room. A ninja trick maze from which it's rumored you can never leave, as well as many other exciting attractions and areas. Seasonal festivals are held year-round to heighten the culture and romance of being an Edo citizen.
Okay. All right. So y'all seen Edoland, this promotional video. Shinobi, bro, I gotta ask you. So out of these two promo videos of two different theme parks, and I'm using air quotes here, which one gives you more inspiration to go and visit?
Well, that's rather simple because I got to keep it pro-black at the black because I'm black, y'all, and I have to reject any culture that has a semblance of tradition, history, refinement. You know, I got to reject all that. So definitely, man, I'm gonna keep it with Mother Africa, nigga.
In other words, you like a coolie.
No, in all seriousness, I mean, There's no contest. I think we all know who the clear winner is, and thanks to my family's Koseki, yeah, I'm gonna be rocking that Japanese nationality going forward.
Man, this is all the more reason for me why. Yeah, I'm my first and only wife for sure. When I get married, she's going to be Japanese, and I am going to claim the Koseki of her family crescent because ain't no way I'm going to tell her and the kids, hey, let's go to this slavery themed park in Benin so we can relive your ancestors' struggles. I already know Miss Coco gonna be like, huh? What do you
Right.
mean we? My ancestors didn't struggle like that.
I mean, listen, life in the Edo area was not easy. It wasn't sweet. There were things that went on, and actually, one of the reasons why they ended up expelling pretty much all the foreigners was because there actually were Japanese people being sold as slaves,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where that they were quite numerous. But I mean, that's another conversation for another time. That's one of the reasons why they expelled pretty much all the foreigners to put that to a stop. But with that said, I mean, listen, it's Edo world. I might have to go several times a year. Just just to keep it a buck.
That and SKC. You know, SKC, you about to make me play this again. He said, now we
See,
need
we
to
shouldn't
invest.
show this article to AKC. Now he's gonna run with it.
Right? He said, now we need to invest in Slave Bro Cruises from Slave One. Now it's like giving it a name. Slave Wonderland.
Wonderland.
So not Edo Wonderland, Slave Wonderland to assorted historical destiny.
Like Liverpool and what's
The
why am I
Caribbeans.
Colombia? There's a big port in Colombia and
Hmm,
other places, but the point is this is insanity. This
right.
is insane. However, there are many people that will go to this slave wonderland and they're going to love every second of it.
Man, that's what's sad about it. Cause you would think here's what gets me. Okay. Shinobi bro, I showed you that article roughly what, a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks. You would think by now there would be some public outcry, especially like from black Americans who would condemn this, be like, nah, we not down with this whole amusement park trying to relive the slavery days and encounters and all. But bro, not a peep has been said from that demographic. Not a word.
No, and if you try to say anything, you'll be labeled as a coon, a sellout, a bed buck. You will be canceled, and you will be labeled a racist.
Wow.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like Clue just said, GDV, she hasn't been over here, but she's another very cool person. Her and Clue, are a couple. She's from England. And Clue says here, I've told her I'm an honorary Englishman. Clue, forget honorary. You're just an Englishman who happens to be American. Point blank. Point blank. Because that's what I'm going to be doing. I am an American who happens to be of Japanese mindset. because I, I, I can't claim this whole
No,
slavery theme
yeah,
park.
no, I mean, I can't.
SKC, oh my goodness, we just started a horror says Slave Land, Louisiana, coming summer 2026. Ah, oh boy. Well,
Oh,
Shinobi, we come to the tail end now of the stream. I have to say, this has been. I'm glad we did it this way, where we started off with something serious and just talking, about the serious stuff. What you need to do as far as travelers, SBISBN practitioner, and everything. What to do when you become a father and you have a family and all. So we started off with the serious stuff, and then we ended with some lighthearted, but also very amusing interpretation of one side of the country wants to relive something that, for the most part, is very condemned across the board. But then on the other side of the country, they're reliving a history where everybody wants to experience it. But Shinobi bro, what's been your final thoughts on this?
oh man. Yeah, this was a very interesting podcast. We touched on a lot of interesting things, but I think that at the end of the day, self mastery, self control is going to take you far in life. Because, I was talking with my son, today's his birthday, and he's getting older, right? He's getting to his teenage years. And, now we're sitting down, we're reading things like the Hagakure. Speaking of the Bible, we read that every Sunday. And then we also read Machiavelli, The Prince. We've been reading that, educating him about life and how this thing works. And there are a lot of people who, for a variety of reasons, just aren't being prepared to be successful. They're going to, they're going, they're going to slave Wonderland, and they're going to I mean, and even if they don't go to a theme park in the country of Benin, they're going to be mentally enslaved anyway in America. They're going to lift up their eyes, and there's going to be this great gulf between them and happiness and freedom and prosperity. And there's just not going to be any way for them to move forward. And it's going to be because of their own thinking and their own way of life. As was said at a certain economic forum meeting, not this year, but in the past years, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yep.
So the passport is a heck of a drug. The freedom that it brings you is liberating and life-changing. But you can either take that passport and fly over to I can't stand SKC right now.
Yeah, this is why I created that short, because SKC.
Yeah, so you could either take that passport and you could fly on over to to Slave Wonderland and just be just as bad as you were before you left the country, or you could take your passport and go to Edo Land, or whatever it's called, at Edo Wonderland, and you can improve your life, your quality of life. You can learn something new. You can be a part of something awesome. Choice is yours. I mean, every man is responsible for his own decisions. That's all I got.
So wait a minute, Shinobi bro. In the words of the Booty Warrior, we could do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. The choice is yours. Well, if that's the case, again, this is my choice.
Oh, shit.
That's my choice because I'm not claiming this. I'm just not claiming the whole slavery theme park. Nothing,
Bruh.
nothing about that inspires me. First off, okay, first let me just say this: this is just Sigma Jones' opinion, so don't try to say, so to speak, this is everybody's opinion on this podcast. No, this is strictly Sigma Jones. But outside of maybe visiting Egypt and seeing the pyramids and all, I really have no interest in visiting Africa. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Outside of visiting Egypt to see the pyramids and maybe going on a safari hunt to see, the actual wildlife and all, I've never really been interested in visiting Africa. And especially now, I have zero interest in trying to relive what the African ancestors had to go through when it came down to bondage and slavery. I'm sorry. Nothing about that theme park tells me, oh, I'm definitely going to Africa now. That's just not me. I can't speak for everybody, but for the House of Sigma Jones, we not about that life. So
Mm.
you're more likely to see me go to Edo Wonderland, especially with my upcoming trip to Japan coming up pretty soon. You're more likely to see me there than to see me in the slavery theme park of Benin.
Mm. Yeah, I think that I mean, for me personally, like I would love to go to Gabon. That would be awesome. Egypt and maybe someday Ethiopia. I would like to go there, but not anytime soon. Not at this time. So
I almost says, why go to Africa on safari hunt? You can see all that kind of wildlife here. Ah. Ooh.
oh my goodness. Okay, I'm done.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
dead.
my
I'm
stomach
dead.
is hurting. All this laughing is hurting. But just want to give a shout out to everybody for listening in and whatnot. And yes, Logic Fighters, Tokyo Disney, that's another place I would recommend. I went there for the first time. I was in Tokyo. It was awesome. So I'll tell anybody, definitely visit Tokyo Disney.
Yeah,
But
we went there for our honeymoon. We went to Tokyo Disneyland. It was good. Plus, they had this great chocolate popcorn, which I have not
mm,
found since I left there. But that's another story for another time.
indeed, indeed. Well, just want to give a shout out to everybody that listened in on the live stream today and those who will be listening in on the replay and all. Definitely, give your opinions in the comment section and whatnot after watching the stream and whatnot. We just want to thank everybody for tuning in to the first Black Ronins podcast of 2023. Hope everybody's enjoying it. And for those who are in the comic world, be sure to tune in tomorrow for the State of Male Entertainment. We're definitely going to have some hard hitters for that coming up on tomorrow. So definitely be sure to do that. But with that said, I am your host, Sigma Jones. The Shinobi Bro himself, Kenegakure Jones, is here with us as well. Until next time, this is the way.
This is the way.